My husband had an affair with my mother for 5 years. I found out at my dad's funeral when she announced she's pregnant. My mother announced she was pregnant at my father's funeral. With my husband's baby. They'd been sleeping together for 5 years. 5 years of family dinners where I sat between them. 5 years of holidays. 5 years of her babysitting our kids while I worked late. 5 years of him telling me he loved me while he was my mother in the house where I grew up. I'm writing this from a hotel room because I can't go home. Can't face my kids. Can't look at myself in the mirror without wanting to disappear. Everyone thinks I'm the victim in this story, but the truth is more complicated than that. More ugly. More unforgivable. Because 6 months ago, I had an affair too. And the only reason I'm devastated isn't because my husband betrayed me. It's because he beat me to the confession. He got to be the victim first. His name is Ryan. We've been married for 12 years. Together for 15. He's a contractor, the kind of man who fixes things without being asked, who coaches our son's soccer team, who never forgot an anniversary. I told myself our marriage was fine. Good, even. We had 2 kids, Noah, 10, and Lily, 7. A house in the suburbs. Stability. The kind of life people post about on Instagram. But somewhere around year 9, I got bored. Not with Ryan specifically. With everything. With being a wife and mother and marketing manager who did the same thing every single day. With predictability. With feeling invisible. My affair started at a work conference in Chicago. His name was Tyler. Sales director from our competitor. Charming. Dangerous. The kind of man who made you feel like the most interesting person alive. We slept together the first night. Then I went home and pretended it never happened. But Tyler kept texting. Kept calling. Kept making me feel seen in a way Ryan hadn't in years. So I kept responding. For 6 months, I lived a double life. Business trips that weren't really business trips. Late nights at the office that were actually hotel rooms. Lies stacked on top of lies so high I couldn't see over them anymore. Ryan never suspected. Or if he did, he never said anything. He kept making dinner. Kept asking about my day. Kept being the steady, reliable man I'd married. And I resented him for it. For making it so easy to betray him. For trusting me when I didn't deserve it. My mother's name is Barbara. She's 56. She'd been widowed for exactly 4 days when she made her announcement. My father had died suddenly. Heart attack. Massive and instant. He was 58 years old, worked in banking his whole life, never missed a day, and died at his desk on a Tuesday afternoon. The funeral was packed. Dad had been loved. Really loved. Colleagues, friends, neighbors, everyone from our church. The service was beautiful. Sad but beautiful. Mom stood at the podium and talked about their 38 years together. About how he was her soulmate. Her best friend. Her everything. I believed every word. After the service, we gathered at Mom's house. The house I grew up in. The house where Dad had lived until 4 days ago. People were eating casseroles and sharing memories. My kids were in the backyard with their cousins. Ryan was helping serve drinks. I was in the kitchen when Mom called everyone into the living room. I need to say something while everyone's here. The room quieted. People gathered around, probably expecting another tribute to Dad. Another tearful memory. Mom stood next to the fireplace. Her hand went to her stomach. I know this timing is terrible. But I can't hide this any longer. I'm pregnant. Silence. Complete, suffocating silence. Then the whispers started. People calculating dates. Doing math. Dad had been sick for 3 months before he died. Bedridden the last 6 weeks. The timeline didn't work. My aunt spoke first. Barbara, how is that possible? Robert was. It's not Robert's baby. More silence. Heavier this time. Darker. I felt Ryan tense beside me. Felt him take a step back. Mom's eyes met mine. And I saw something there I'd never seen before. Guilt. Fear. Defiance. It's Ryan's. The room exploded. People shouting. My aunt screaming. Someone dropped a plate. But I couldn't hear any of it. I was staring at Ryan. At my husband. At the father of my children. At the man I'd been betraying for 6 months. His face was white. Pale. But not shocked. Not shocked at all. He'd known this was coming. Tell me she's lying. My voice came out barely above a whisper. Ryan. Tell me she's messed lying. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Claire, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I lunged at him. Actually lunged. My brother caught me before I could reach him. How long? I was screaming now. Didn't care who heard. How mess long? Mom answered. 5 years? 5 years? 5 years they'd been doing this behind my back. Behind Dad's back. My father had died 4 days ago, not knowing his wife had been cheating on him for 5 years. With his son-in-law. With his grandchildren's father. You were sleeping with her while Dad was alive? I couldn't process it. Couldn't make it real in my head. Ryan nodded. Claire, please, let me explain. Explain what? How you messed my mother. How you did it in my childhood home. How you looked my father in the eye at Christmas while you were screwing his wife. People were leaving. Gathering their things. Getting their kids. No one wanted to be there for this. My brother was holding me back. My sister was crying. My aunt was screaming at Mom, calling her every name possible. And through all of it, I was calculating. 5 years? Noah was 10. Lily was 7. 5 years ago, Lily was 2 years old. Noah was 5. Ryan had started mess my mother when our babies were still babies. Get out. My voice was cold now. Steady. Both of you. Get out of this house. Mom started crying. Claire, please, I never meant for this to happen. You're pregnant with my husband's baby and you announced it at Dad's funeral. What the mess did you think was going to happen? Ryan took a step toward me. Claire, we need to talk about the kids. Don't you dare. Don't you dare mention my children right now. They're my children too. You gave up that right when you messed my mother. My brother pulled me away. Physically dragged me out of that house before I did something I couldn't take back. I sat in his car, shaking, while he went back inside to get Noah and Lily. When he came back, the kids were confused. Scared. They'd heard the screaming but didn't understand. Mommy, why is everyone yelling? Lily's little voice broke me. I couldn't answer. Couldn't speak. Just stared straight ahead while my brother drove us to his house. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat on my brother's couch and finally processed what had happened. My husband had been sleeping with my mother for 5 years. My mother was pregnant at 56 years old with my husband's baby. My father had died not knowing. And through all of that, one thought kept circling. I'd been cheating too. For 6 months, I'd been doing the exact same thing. Lying. Sneaking around. Betraying the person who trusted me. I pulled out my phone. Stared at Tyler's last text from 3 days ago. Thinking about you. When can I see you again? I'd been planning to end it. Had been feeling guilty about Dad's death. About missing so much family time. About the lies. But I hadn't ended it yet. Was still texting him. Still making plans. Ryan and I were both cheaters. Both liars. Both destroyers of our family. The difference was, his betrayal was with my mother. And hers was unforgivable in a way mine somehow wasn't. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Just lay there thinking about every family dinner. Every holiday. Every time Mom had watched the kids. Every time she'd hugged me and told me she loved me while pregnant with my husband's child. At 6 a.m., Ryan started calling. I didn't answer. He texted, Claire, please. Let me see the kids. Let me explain. This isn't what you think. I texted back, don't contact me again. Get a lawyer. You'll hear from mine. 3 hours later, Tyler called. I'd forgotten he existed. Hey beautiful, I'm in town next week. Want to meet up? I hung up without answering. Blocked his number. Deleted every text. Every photo. Every trace of him. Because whatever I'd done, whatever mistakes I'd made, they were nothing compared to what Ryan and my mother had destroyed. Or so I told myself. My brother sat me down that afternoon. Claire, I need to tell you something. And you're not going to want to hear it. What could possibly make this worse? People are saying things. About you. About why Ryan might have done this. My stomach dropped. What kind of things? That you've been distant. That you've been traveling a lot for work. That maybe Ryan was lonely. So this is my fault? I'm not saying that. I'm saying people are going to look for reasons. And you need to be prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for anything that came next. The first week after the funeral, I stayed at my brother's house with the kids. Ryan moved into a hotel. Mom disappeared completely. No one knew where she'd gone. I hired a lawyer. Started divorce proceedings. Filed for full custody. Then Ryan's lawyer sent me a letter. It detailed every business trip I'd taken in the last 6 months. Every late night at the office. Every unexplained absence. They had credit card statements showing hotel rooms I'd booked. Restaurants I'd been to. Receipts that didn't match my calendar. They knew about Tyler? I don't know how. Maybe Ryan had suspected. Maybe he'd hired a private investigator. Maybe Tyler had talked. It didn't matter. They knew. And suddenly, I wasn't just the wronged wife anymore. I was a cheater too. Ryan's lawyer made it clear, if I pushed for full custody, they'd expose my affair. Make it public. Show the court that I'd been an unfaithful spouse too. My lawyer was blunt. Claire, if you've been having an affair, your position just got significantly weaker. The court doesn't look kindly on infidelity when children are involved. But Ryan slept with my mother. For 5 years. That's worse. In the eyes of the law, infidelity is infidelity. And he can argue that your affair came first. That his was a response to feeling neglected. That's insane. That's family court. I settled. Joint custody. 50-50 split. The house would be sold and profits divided. I'd lost before the battle even started. The social fallout was worse. My family divided. Half blamed Ryan and Mom. Half blamed me for whatever I'd done to drive Ryan away. My aunt confronted me at the grocery store. Your father would be ashamed of you. Cheating on your husband while he was working to support your family. Ryan was messed my mother. And what were you doing? Where were you on all those business trips? Don't think people haven't noticed. Word spread faster than I could control it. My affair with Tyler became public knowledge. Someone from my office had seen us together. Had told someone who told someone else. Within 2 weeks, everyone knew. My friends started distancing themselves. Coffee dates got cancelled. Group chats went quiet when I posted. Melissa, my best friend since college, finally told me the truth over a very uncomfortable lunch. Claire, I love you. But what you did? People are having a hard time with it. What I did? What about what Ryan and my mother did? That's disgusting, obviously. But you cheated too. And now it looks like you're only mad because you got caught second. That's not fair. Fair or not, that's what people are saying. That you're a hypocrite. That you destroyed your family just as much as he did. I wasn't sleeping with his father. No, but you were sleeping with someone while your kids were at home wondering where mommy was. She wasn't wrong. That's what made it so brutal. I'd been doing exactly what Ryan had been doing. Lying. Sneaking. Putting my own desires above my family. The only difference was the target of my betrayal. And in most people's eyes, that wasn't enough of a difference. Work became unbearable. The office gossip mill was relentless. Tyler had been fired for fraternizing with a married employee. I was given a warning and moved to a different department. My new boss made it clear, I was on thin ice. One more incident and I was out. 6 weeks after Dad's funeral, I had my first custody exchange with Ryan. We met in a parking lot. Neutral territory. I pulled up with Noah and Lily. Ryan was waiting. The kids ran to him. Hugged him. Told him they missed him. He hugged them back and looked at me over their heads. His eyes weren't angry. They were sad. Disappointed. How are you holding up? He asked. Are you seriously asking me that? Claire, we need to figure out how to co-parent. The kids are confused. Scared. They need stability. They need their father not to have messed their grandmother. Noah heard that. His face went white. Daddy did what? I just destroyed my 10-year-old son with information he wasn't ready for. Ryan loaded the kids in his car without another word. Drove away without looking back. I sat in that parking lot and realized I'd become exactly what I hated. Someone who put their own pain above their children's well-being. 2 months after the funeral, Mom resurfaced. She sent me a letter. Handwritten. 8 pages. She tried to explain. How it had started innocently. How she and Ryan had connected over feeling unappreciated. How it had spiraled before either of them realized. How she loved Dad but felt invisible after 35 years of marriage. How Ryan made her feel young again. Seen again. Alive again. How she was sorry. So sorry. But she loved Ryan. And the baby was a blessing, not a mistake. She was keeping it. They were keeping it. Ryan and her. Together. My husband was going to raise a baby with my mother. My children were going to have a sibling who was also their cousin. The family tree was permanently warped. I burned the letter. 3 months after the funeral, Tyler contacted me from a new number. I heard what happened. I'm sorry. If you need to talk. I blocked him immediately. Whatever we'd had, it was poison. And I was done drinking it. 4 months after the funeral, the divorce was finalized. I got the standard settlement. Half the house proceeds. Half the retirement accounts. Child support. Joint custody. Ryan got to move on with my mother. I got to be the woman whose husband left her for her own mother. But I also got to be the woman who'd been cheating when it happened. In every version of the story, I was the villain too. 5 months after the funeral, I ran into Ryan's sister at Target. She didn't avoid me. Actually approached me. Claire, I need you to know something. What Ryan and your mom did is unforgivable. But what you did matters too. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're playing the victim when you were doing the same thing he was. Just with someone less shocking. It's not the same. You're right. It's not. Because at least Ryan waited until he was actually in love before he acted on it. You just wanted excitement. She walked away before I could respond. But she was right. I hadn't loved Tyler. Hadn't even particularly liked him. I just wanted to feel something other than bored. And I destroyed my family for it. 6 months after the funeral, Mom had the baby. A girl. They named her Hope. Ryan posted a photo on Facebook. Him holding a newborn. Mom next to him, glowing. The caption, "Welcome to the world, Hope Elizabeth. Our miracle." 300 likes. Dozens of comments congratulating them. Calling them brave. Celebrating their love. No one mentioned that this baby was my children's sibling and cousin simultaneously. No one mentioned my father, who'd been dead less than a year. Everyone had moved on. Accepted it. Decided that Ryan and Mom's love story was somehow romantic instead of revolting. And I was the bitter ex-wife who couldn't let it go. 7 months after the funeral, I got a message from Melissa. "Claire, I'm getting married next year. I wanted you to know that I can't invite you. Kevin knows what happened and he's not comfortable with it. I'm sorry. I wasn't even worth a pity invitation anymore." Noah started therapy. His therapist called me in for a session. Noah is struggling with trust. With understanding adult relationships. He's asked me several times if love always ends in betrayal. What did you tell him? I told him that adults sometimes make mistakes. But I need you to understand something, Claire. Noah knows you cheated too. Ryan told them age-appropriate details after you mentioned it in the parking lot. Noah feels betrayed by both of you. Ryan told them? He had to. You'd already opened that door. Now both of you have to deal with the consequences. My son didn't trust me anymore. Didn't look at me the same way. Lily was quieter. Withdrawn. She'd stopped drawing, which had been her favorite thing. Her teacher called. Lily seems depressed. Is everything okay at home? How do you explain that everything is not okay? That mommy and daddy both destroyed the family in different but equally devastating ways. 8 months after the funeral, I moved into a small apartment. Couldn't afford anything bigger after the house sold. The kids hated it. Hated having 2 homes. Hated the instability. Why can't you and daddy just forgive each other? Lily asked one night. It's not that simple, baby. But you both made mistakes. You said so yourself. Out of the mouths of babes. 7 years old and she'd figured out what I'd been refusing to accept. We were both guilty. Both destroyers. Both unforgivable. 9 months after the funeral, Ryan and Mom got married. Small ceremony. Just immediate family. Which didn't include me. But it included my children. Noah and Lily were there. Noah in a tiny suit. Lily in a flower girl dress. They sent me pictures afterward. Probably trying to hurt me. Probably succeeding. I stared at those photos and finally understood the full scope of what I'd lost. Not just my husband. Not just my mother. But my place in my children's lives. They had a new family now. Ryan, Mom, and baby Hope. A family that functioned. That looked happy in photos. And then there was me. Alone in a 2-bedroom apartment. Seeing my kids 50% of the time. Watching them build a life that didn't include me at its center. 10 months after the funeral, I started therapy. My therapist asked the hard questions. Why did you cheat, Claire? I was bored. Unhappy. Invisible. And Ryan's affair doesn't excuse yours? No. But his affair is worse? Silence. Claire, in your mind, what's the difference between what you did and what he did? He did it with my mother. For 5 years. She got pregnant. And you did it for 6 months with a man you didn't love because you wanted excitement. You both betrayed your vows. You both lied to your children. You both put your own desires above your family. So you're saying we're the same? I'm saying you both destroyed your family. The details of how are less important than the fact that you both made that choice. I left that session and finally faced the truth. I wasn't the victim in this story. I was a participant in its destruction. 1 year after Dad's funeral, I drove to his grave alone. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. Sorry he died not knowing about Mom and Ryan. Sorry I'd been so caught up in my own affair that I'd missed signs he was struggling. Sorry I contributed to the family's collapse. Sorry I'd become someone he wouldn't recognize. I'm 39 years old now. Divorced. Co-parenting. Living alone in an apartment I can barely afford. Ryan is married to my mother. They have a 1-year-old daughter. My kids spend half their time there, bonding with their sister cousin. Tyler has disappeared completely. Married someone else. Moved on like I never existed. My family is fractured beyond repair. Half of them don't speak to me. The other half don't speak to Ryan and Mom. My kids are in therapy. Both of them. Processing trauma that I helped create. And every single day, I wake up knowing that I'm just as guilty as the people I hate. People ask me sometimes if I regret my affair. I tell them yes. But that's not the whole truth. The whole truth is, I regret getting caught. I regret not ending it before Ryan's confession. I regret that his betrayal was more dramatic than mine, so I got to play victim for approximately 5 minutes before everyone realized I was a villain too. I don't get to claim moral high ground. I don't get to be the wronged wife. I'm just another cheater who destroyed her family and has to live with the consequences. Ryan and Mom get to be the controversial love story that people eventually accept. I get to be the bitter ex-wife who also cheated but with someone less shocking, so nobody cares. My kids get to grow up knowing both their parents are liars. And my father gets to rest in peace, never knowing how completely his family fell apart after he died. If you're reading this and thinking about cheating because you're bored, stop. Because you don't get to control the narrative once it explodes. You don't get to be the victim when you're also the villain. And your betrayal doesn't cancel out someone else's. It just means you both destroyed something precious. Ryan took my mother and gave me a lifetime of shame. But I handed him the knife when I chose Tyler. And we both stabbed our children in the process. That's what infidelity really costs. Not just your marriage. But your right to be angry when someone does to you exactly what you did to them.